What's up, everybody? It's another Tasting Tuesday, week 2 of kind of doing this. We got a lot of good feedback last week, and we actually had some people come in and buy the coffee that we kind of showed off last week, which was kind of nice. This week, though, we are talking about Djimma right there, which is a kind of full-bodied Ethiopian. That's what it looks like. And then we're also talking about Mexican Topacio right there. We don't have a tag for it because it's somewhat newer, and we only have one tag, and so it's up with the actual coffee. But that's what it is right there. So Djimma, Topacio, what do they taste like? What are they? And we will learn all that in today's Tasting Tuesday. Let's get down to it. So again, first thing that we should probably do is heat the water, because that's going to kind of take the longest. So let's get the water started. Next, what we got to do, water's heating up right now, so we need to figure out, again, we need to do the math. How much are we going to be putting in these? These are 6-ounce cups, and so as I mentioned last week, for tasting purposes, a good ratio is 60 grams of coffee to 1 liter of water. So we just need to figure out how much this is in basically milliliters, and transfer that into a ratio of kind of like 60 grams or a fraction of that. So let's do the math real quick. 60 grams of coffee to 1 liter of water, or basically 1,000 milliliters. I have a conversion app on here. So we're going to go to volume. We're going to type in 6 ounces, and that is 177 milliliters, right? So what is 177 divided by 1,000? It's 0.177. And so you just take your 60 grams of coffee beans and multiply it by that 0.177, and you get 10.62 grams of coffee. So for this, 10.62 grams of coffee is going to go in these guys, and then we're going to fill it until it hits 177 milliliters. So for Djimma, we need 10.62 grams. It's a little too much. I was very excited about that. Do the same thing here. Zero it out, just to be sure. Perfect. 10.62. Now, let's go grind them and put the grinds back in here. And we'll go to 177, and that should pretty much fill it up. And then 177 for Djimma as well. You want to make sure you get all of the grinds. Every single little bit of this is wet and covered with water. You don't want anything not brewing. So now what we got to do, set the timer 4 minutes. While this is brewing, we're going to prepare for the next part. So let's go and get all the necessary ingredients for that. 4 minutes are done. One thing that we need to do is immediately break the brewing method, break the brewing cycle that's happening right now. So what we're going to do is disrupt it, pretty much. Just do a couple of circles, nothing too crazy, and you'll notice immediately you got a little bit of crema, but all the grinds, or most of the grinds, have gone down to the bottom. And so we're going to do that with both of them. So we did that. We stopped the brewing method, but there's one more step that we need to do, and that is to get all these extra grinds that are just kind of sitting on top, this crema, and we just want to basically take it and scoop it. There we go. All right. Perfect. So now we've got them sitting like this, and believe it or not, they're still too hot to drink. So we have to wait a few minutes until they're done cooling down. And then we'll be able to kind of pull the flavors out of what they are. We're gonna give these another minute to cool down, but I wanted to tell you about these coffees. So, because both of them kind of have a fun origin story per se. And so this Djimma right here on your right, it's a full-bodied, heavy, kind of earthy Ethiopian. And believe it or not, Djimma is believed to be the grandfather of all coffee, right? it's no question that coffee started in Ethiopia. Like, that was the birthplace of coffee, was Ethiopia thousands of years ago. But then you start to wonder, well, which strain of coffee tree was it? Was it Yirgacheffe? Was it Sidamo? Was it Djimma? Was it Harar? A lot of coffee experts believe that it was Djimma, which is just, I don't know, kind of interesting. So if you come in and you try Djimma, just know that you're drinking the oldest coffee in the world. Topacio here, which comes from southern Mexico, and we've had Mexican coffee in here before. In fact, we regularly have Chiapas Jacintos in here, but in April we got a shipment of Topacio, because about every 6 months or so we put in an order for about 15,000 pounds of coffee beans. And Frankie, who's the other roaster, was kind of going through the list of, options for coffees, and this one stuck out to him, and he said, could we order some of this Mexican Topacio? I really want to try it and roast it and see if it's any good. And we said, sure. Frankie and I noticed the second we roasted it was that it is a heavy chocolate tone. It has very heavy chocolate tones. It's a chocolatey coffee. A lot of Central and South Americans, especially Mexican coffee, tends to have chocolate notes to them. But this one was just, it like blew our minds how almost like fully chocolatey it was. So that's the background of these two coffees. So let's try it. We'll start with Topacio because it's Frankie's favorite. Just get a little bit in here, and then you want to slurp. Oh, there's the chocolate. Remember what I said? I got some on my hand, but there's that chocolate. It's very good. It's a medium body, like, you can kind of tell that it's got either some nuttiness or some chocolatey to it. If you don't know, you could confuse it, but it's chocolate, and it's very, very good. Yeah, it has sweetness to it, which comes from the chocolate notes. So if you like chocolatey coffee or some kind of more like medium-bodied, more fun coffee, you might want to try Topacio. I've taste tested Djimma a bajillion times, so I know what to expect, but let's try to be as unbiased as possible. So get a little bit on the spoon and slurp. Immediately, it's heavier, more full-bodied coffee, as it should be. If it wasn't, I'd be very confused. A little hint of cocoa, but I'm not tasting it as much as I normally do, and that's probably just because I just had Topacio, which is kind of cocoa chocolate heavy. Djimma, because it's very earthy, it's very low profile and full bodied, you're not going to get any of those kind of acidity notes as you would with something else. So those are our two coffees. You've got Topacio, which is a medium bodied, very chocolate heavy coffee, and then you have Djimma, which is a full bodied, earthy, some cocoa notes, but again, I'm not tasting it as much because I just had Topacio. We'll have them all this week. Starting this morning, by the time you see this, we will have them up ready to buy, and it's first come, first serve for our Mexican Topacio and our Ethiopian Djimma. Frankie's favorite Mexican coffee and the oldest coffee in the world. So that's all I got. Thank you all for coming to another week of Tasting Tuesday, and we will see you next week for whatever we taste. I don't really plan these out. I just kind of come in and see what we have and say what's popping. Thank you, everybody.